This is total.
Hey, what the hell are we recording?
Yeah, and you're screwing up the intro.
What about my part? It's supposed to be our podcast, right?
Come on, man. I'm trying to be professional about this.
You know damn well there ain't nothing professional about what we're doing here. Welcome to Totally Unprofessional. It's Manuel and Justin, his two best friends shooting a breeze about nothing and about everything. We're separated by 10 years, 2 points of view on every subject from 2 different generations. Listen as we talk sports, events, and anything else that might come up. There's nothing professional about what we're doing here, hence the name, Totally Unprofessional. 3, 2, 1.
All right, we are back. It is episode 12. It's a special Saturday edition.
Are you marking these? Is that what you know? Because I can't seem to freaking remember for the life of me what episode we're on.
I keep them, and then when I post them on IG, I put the episode number.
Mental check marks?
Yeah, I just like to know how many we've done, how much we're doing. Today is June 4th, I believe.
Yeah.
As we record this, we have UFC 199 on right now.
In the background?
Dan Henderson's about to fight right now. Should be a solid fight. It's him and Hector Lombard, so it should be a good one. The main and co-main. The co-main event is Dominic Cruz and Uriah Faber, and the main event is Luke Rockhold versus 2-week notice Michael Bisping. Personally, in the main event, I got Rockhold, even though it was announced that he's fighting on a torn MCL.
I was gonna say you did see that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But why would a doctor clear somebody if he couldn't fight?
How important are those ligaments to fight?
An MCL is somewhat important.
Is it?
Yes.
Maybe it wasn't severe enough to...
That's my guess.
Okay.
It was a small tear. It wasn't something significant.
Sounds like he might be copping an excuse.
That's what Bisping said, but if I'm Bisping, I'm going to kick the shit out of his legs.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, that's going to be a straight leg kick.
Because, this is the second time.
Yes, this is
the
part
first
2.
time, he punched him, dropped him, and then choked him.
Didn't finish.
So, he choked him out.
He choked him out?
Yeah, on the ground. He choked him out. So, this time, he says he's going to just straight dominate him, and that'll be it. So, in the co-main event, I'm going to go ahead and just say that I think Dominic Cruz is going to win. Faber's on the downside.
You're not the first one I've heard say that.
Yeah.
You really think
he's
that
an
on the
older
down?
fighter. He's got some mileage on him. You got to remember, before the UFC, he was in the WEC.
Yes. Yeah.
And he had a lot of fights. Guys like Mike Brown, Dominic Cruz the first time, which he beat him in the WEC with a guillotine. He beat him. So, but that was a long time ago. And I'm not saying that he's he can't ever fight anymore. But championship fights are few and far between for him. And this is, if he loses, I'm pretty much guaranteeing it's his last shot.
Has he taken care of his money?
So he's the head of Team Alpha Male out of Sacramento.
Okay.
The Chad Mendez fights out of.
So he's probably good.
And
okay.
Last weekend winner Cody Garbrandt,
he
fights out of Team Alpha Male.
So he should be doing.
So
it right.
yeah, he should be fine as far as money goes. But I just think that Cruz's footwork. If you watch, Dillashaw is a much better fighter in my opinion than Uriah Faber, and Cruz's footwork against Dillashaw. Although I thought on the cards that Dillashaw won that fight against the judge's decision. His footwork was second to none, and Faber is not as fast as Dillashaw. He's known for the ground and pound and choking people out. He's not known for knocking people out. So if he works Cruz, okay, but he's got to be able to catch and grab Cruz, and I think it's going to be Cruz keeping his distance and making Faber work, and I just don't think he's got the cardio. Faber's an animal, Cruz is an animal.
Well, we're gonna find out for sure because I was watching some of those pre-fight interviews and.
Oh, they hate each other.
Yeah, they don't like each other.
For the first time in a while, I watched the UFC embedded videos on YouTube, which is 8-minute videos they do every day of the week leading into the fight that week. Mm-hmm. And they showed him at the press conference yesterday, which would have been Thursday, because yesterday was a weigh-in. So Thursday, and they were sitting there, and when they did the standoff, he was just like, as soon as Cruz walked up, he's like, I'm going to fuck you up. Straight word for word. I'm going to fuck you up. And then Faber was like, you're a bitch. They just start going back and forth because they're 1-1 in the UFC. Faber lost to Cruz, so they're 1-1. This is the trilogy. This is the third fight. As far as Rockhold and Bisping go, they don't like each other. A lot of people have an issue with Luke Rockhold right now because him being the champion, this is the first time he's defended his title.
Really?
And people feel like he's way too cocky already to only be defending it for the first time. So, but I mean, I think people just misinterpret that. He's a Cali guy. You know, I think people misconstrue that as far as geographically where he's from. If you look at a dude from New York and these guys are talking shit and I'm gonna fuck you up, oh, that's a dude from New York. That's just how he talks. People think that guys from Cali are just laid back and they're like, oh, they don't think like that. They're surfer dudes that are just chill or whatever. This dude's telling you, I'm the fucking man. You got to go through me.
Yeah.
People don't like it.
Yeah, no.
So it'll be interesting.
A clash.
But I got Rockhold just because it's a short notice fight for Bisping. He was off shooting the new Triple X movie when he got the phone call.
Well, Diaz was on short notice to fight McGregor.
True.
I mean, you know, I don't know how much, after talking to Bryce the other day, I don't know how much short notice really plays into it. I think these guys, they know each other within the division. And I don't want to say they're exactly ready to fight, but I can't imagine they're too far out of fight shape.
Well, he weighed in perfectly.
At any given moment. These guys, you know, Bryce talked about continually trying to get better, and he off when he's not scheduled for a fight, possibly working on some specifics, like in Bryce's case it was wrestling. You know, they're probably strengthening some individual stuff.
Right.
But overall, I think that the continuous training, it keeps them ready for that short notice. So we call it short notice, but it's really probably just a lack of specific preparation.
If you listen to a lot of interviews, a lot of fighters say that they prefer shorter camps because there's not as long to wait. There's not as long to hurt yourself or overtraining and hurting yourself in that regard, or pushing your body so hard that by the time you get to the fight, you're just wore down. And that, and I don't even think that's necessarily overtraining. That's just your body going, hey, you know, we got to save this for the fight.
When you put yourself in a position where you have to train, fighting's one of them. Golfers are another one. A lot of people don't look at that as a real strenuous, but if you overtrain yourself, your body still has to have time to recover from the training to be ready for that explosive fight or whatever you got coming up. We've experienced it in the gym. We've gone hard for 6 or 7 weeks. We take a week or two off and go back and find ourselves stronger than when we were done at the end of that 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Your body's still got to have that time to recover. So, you know, these guys rehydrated and stuff. A lot of these guys, if they were to fight a week or a week and a half later, will probably be surprised how physically capable they are at that point. But before we go any further, Muhammad Ali passed away.
Yes.
We lost a boxing legend. I hear
Not
a lot
just a
of,
boxing legend, but a legend, period.
Well, you know, I was discussing this with someone at the graduation party we were at, and a lot of people forget he did dodge a draft. He refused to go into a draft. And I don't want that to tarnish his legacy. It won't tarnish the legacy he had, but you got to remember he had his faults too, you know, and he would not lay claim to being the best, greatest person ever. You know, he had a lot of claims, but please bear in mind that he was human. Yeah. You know, I'm a boxing fan, and that guy, boxing fan-wise, that guy was one of, if not the greatest fighters of all time.
Right.
But it wasn't just about the fighting, because he was also one of the greatest interviewers of all time.
Do you consider him the greatest boxer of all time?
I don't know. Anytime you're talking heavyweights and you're talking greatest, you almost automatically have to start with Rocky Marciano. It almost always has to start with that guy. I know what all the
Which is who Floyd tied for the record, right?
Yes. Marciano took on anybody and everybody in a time where boxing wasn't as much, I don't want to call it a spectator sport, but it wasn't as fan-based as it is now. See, now you're a fighter and you're popular. Back then, you had to fight to survive. That was a livelihood. Right. Don't get me wrong. They still made money for what they were in and what they were doing, but it was a lot of guys' livelihood. One of the more.
Do you see that as like where the UFC is now? Because
it's so young. Lot like the UFC. Because the UFC guys, we've talked a lot about how they just don't make the kind of money that boxers do. Mm-hmm. They haven't gotten to that point where their organization needs them more than they need the organization. So until that gets rectified, those guys will always be in that class. But greatest of all time, maybe one of. He's definitely in the sentence. But like I said, when you're talking greatest heavyweights, Rocky Marciano has definitely got to be in that conversation.
I just think, like me as a casual fan, because I'm not a diehard boxing fan, as we've talked about, I'm more of an MMA guy because I'm younger. To me, during my lifespan at 28, there hasn't been any major boxing fights where the guys are in their prime.
Yeah,
they're standing in the pocket, willing to go at it. Like, so that to me, I think that's why I kind of turned away from boxing. And then as I got older, MMA became a thing because it's more than that. You got to be prepared, right?
Well, and you got to hats off to the UFC for doing this. You have to fight the best.
Yes.
They don't let you get away with picking and choosing and primarying you up for opponents. You've got to fight the best guys in the division. So that's the one thing that the UFC I do like watching about. Hey, if you're the champion, you're expected to fight the next best guy. You've got to get, that's why what Anderson Silva did was unique.
Yeah.
Man, he ran through his division for how long? Before he finally ran into somebody who could slow him down a little bit. And come to find out the guy's on
the juice.
He's on the juice anyways, but what a slam there. Was that Hendo that got slammed?
Yeah. Middle second round here, Dan Henderson gets taken down in an exchange with Hector Lombard looking for a crucifix here.
Now he's got it. Oh, he's got the arm. Oh, is he strong enough to break it? Oh, man.
Hendo's stretched out right now. Drop the elbows on his face, man.
Just looks
Nope,
painful.
he got out of it.
Man.
He's in side saddle right now.
Big man.
Right? Don't get me wrong. Hendo's in some great shape, but Hector Lombard is jacked.
Yeah, he looks... Look at those shoulders, man. That guy just looks ridiculously large.
About 2 minutes to go here in the first round, and Hendo's trying to scramble and get out of this here as Hector Lombard holds him here.
Man, if he doesn't pull that arm down, he's going to get choked.
I think he's kind of looking for something along those lines right now. Looking for a head and arm choke.
Yeah.
Nope, slid out.
But, yeah, there's going to be... there's a lot of discussions. Oh, Hendo, you better put your head down, buddy. Okay, I told him. He picked his head up and he got... Call it. Call it, Herb. Oh, no. He gave him his back.
He got up. He's eating shots, but he's back up.
Come on,
How many
Herb.
does he got?
Herb, you got to go. Herb let him go through it. That's just crazy.
He's hurt.
Well, he's just arm punching.
Look at he's
still throwing.
He's wobbled.
Herb, you got to stop this, Herb. You got to protect
Good
him.
Lord. I mean, I understand the toughness of Hendo to get through that, but how many shots do you got to take to stop a fight?
He looked dazed. Ouch.
Legs wobbled. My goodness.
Oh, man, that's just... What's he going for?
He's just in full guard right now, trying to pull his head down.
Oh, man, that's crazy. That was a
Lombard's trying to get him stacked.
What do we got? A minute left still. There's still time, but it's slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Man, I'd let him back up and start punching him again. Hendo was not keeping his head down. His head was straight up. But, yeah, sad to lose Muhammad Ali. Everybody's going to pass at some point. Everybody grows older. I know he went into the hospital with a respiratory illness a couple of days ago, and
I saw that.
Anytime someone that old goes in, you fear for how they're going to come out of it. But it's definitely sad.
As I was saying, as a casual fan, to most casual fans, I know in my case, he is the greatest. Because when you watch his fights back, yes, Mike Tyson was a Terminator, legitimate Terminator.
But he didn't have any legit competition.
But if you look at Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston, George Foreman, you're looking at some of the top guys that you could, hands down, people are going, that guy's in the conversation.
He's actually one of the last boxers to fight for livelihood.
Hendo makes it to the end of the first round here. Sorry to interrupt.
He's one of the last great boxers to make it through fighting for the livelihood. The guy fought legitimately to feed the family, to make money. He didn't make the ridiculous money that they make now. So you understand that he fought the way he fought because of who he was, but also because it was his livelihood. So,
but I just think more so than the entertainment factor, him and Howard Cosell, my God, those two together, pretty ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
But to watch his fights, to sit there and watch people swing and him move his head and his body and even dance around here and there and shuffle and just literally fucking with people, toying with them.
Oh yeah.
That to me kind of set him aside because a lot of people, I feel, even in MMA today, they take their fights so over the top seriously that it affects them in the fight.
Yeah.
And whereas Ali was one of the most relaxed, the most cool, calm, and collected guys you saw, which is why when he was done fighting, he didn't have a whole lot of marks on his face. He didn't have that beat up look.
Yeah.
So
ESPN put up his 10 greatest quotes.
Oh, okay. And that's the other thing is that a lot of people. He's one of the most quoted people ever.
Yeah. I'm gonna read off all 10 just because there's only 10.
Real quick, the referee just stopped and made sure with the doctor that Dan Henderson can continue as they brought him out of the corner, and the doctor okayed it. We're starting the second round now.
Third round. No, second round.
Yeah, it's the second round. It was a long first round for Dan Henderson.
Yeah, he ate a lot of good punches. Okay, so we got number 10 here. Muhammad Ali's greatest quotes. I don't count the sit-ups. I only start counting when it starts hurting because they're the only ones that count. That's what makes you a champion.
That's a good one.
That's a deep one right there. Number 9, silence is golden when you can't think of a good answer. Some people talk about his not his inability, but his unwillingness to interview sometimes. That would speak volumes for it right there. Yeah. Number 8. I wish people would love everybody else the way they love me. It would be a better world. For those of you that don't know why he dodged the draft, the guy was Muslim when Vietnam was coming through, and I don't remember verbatim what he said, but I know it had to do with his religion and his want for peace. That's why he relinquished the title. Hence
the name Muhammad Ali. Yeah. His real name or government name Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay is his. I don't want to say his real name, but it was his
government.
It was
name.
His birth name, is what it was. He was given Cassius Clay.
If you were to look at his birth certificate,
it would say Cassius Clay, and he named himself Muhammad Ali. So, number 7. It isn't the mountains ahead that.
Hold on, before you go any further, one of the only people named Muhammad that's not suspicious these days. Go ahead.
Wow.
Hey, are we not unprofessional? Oh shit! It's over!
Hendo got him?
Hendo got him!
Oh no!
He literally put him to sleep!
Oh no!
He put him to sleep!
We're too busy laughing at Justin here, trying to be professional.
Unprofessional is the name of the podcast. Totally unprofessional.
I just saw Hendo jump on the top, man.
I don't know. Look, he's cold. He flatlined him. His eyes are closed.
Look at there's Chuck Liddell.
He knocked him the fuck out.
Oh man, I gotta show that again.
Look, they got the light in his eye. He's asleep.
Yeah, he's out. He is nowhere near awake.
There's his legs moving.
Okay.
For a minute, it looked like he was in a coma.
Yeah, it did. He was not moving. He's like, I just want to check on him.
I just want to shake hands, bro. Let's see this again. Here's the replay.
So what was it?
They're getting close. They were exchanging. Oh. Head kick to the ear by Hendo, and then it gets caught.
Oh, it was the elbow.
The back elbow.
Oh.
Back elbow to the ear, and then he bombs up 2 forearms on him as Herb Dean stops it. Holy shit.
Ouch.
Make sure you catch that on YouTube somewhere. That back elbow straight to the ear.
Back elbow and a 2 right into the ground.
Right into the ear.
He didn't get the second one. Herb got it before he dropped the second one. But
still.
That back
after
elbow.
the hell of a first round, he took a beating.
Oh, man, that was crazy. What a crazy turn.
Wow.
Night.
That could be potential knockout of the night right there.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Definitely.
Congratulations.
He's not interviewing?
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, he took off, didn't he?
Oh, no, he's hugging somebody. Probably his wife, because she thought he was dead in the first round.
Yeah, I think the whole audience thought he was dead. That's awesome.
Well, and see, here's the thing about that. Before we get back to those quotes. It's something like that makes you question officials in that first round going, what the fuck? How come Herb didn't stop the fight? And then he comes back and he wins the fight like that. Like, he's still laid out.
Well, and you even think about Herb Dean went over to the doctor and asked in between rounds
if Henderson could continue.
Can you keep going? Well, yeah, you can keep going. And he'll knock that fool out. Oh, man, that was a brutal elbow. And then you imagine, okay, so we were talking to Bryce the other day. You imagine somebody like Bryce, who he throws so hard with his hand. If he was to condense it down and hit you with an elbow, man, that would be ridiculous. Okay, so we're at quote number 7.
Okay, back to
keep checking on him. It isn't the mountains ahead that wear you down; it's the pebble in your shoe.
Fair enough.
Okay, number 6. The will must be stronger than the skill. Another deep one right there. Number 5, don't count the days, make the days count. That might be his most popular one, I think. I've heard that one as an athlete.
I was just say, as an adult, that one's probably the most popular.
Yeah, because as you get older, your days are numbered, and you really don't. When you're young, you don't pay attention to the time in front, or to the time.
Right.
And as you get older, you start to realize your time's getting shorter. So, number 4, the fight is won or lost far away from the witnesses, behind the lines, in the gym, and out there on the road, long before I dance under those lights. Number 3, we were just talking about how what's his name's ego is there, and it's only his first title fight. I was going to read this one. I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was. I figured that if I said it enough, I would convince the world that I was really the greatest. I'm the greatest of all time. After the Thrilla in Manila, that was all he said for weeks. Here's another famous one. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. You can't hit what your eyes don't see. He did that dancing around George Foreman in their first fight. And his number 1 quote, impossible is just a word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact. It's an opinion. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing.
That's a long one to be number 1.
That's a long one.
I don't see that as like, because it's so long, I don't see it as memorable as some of the others.
No, but I would say people who knew Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Not even people. I think the sports world in general, the boxing world in general, was always focused around people's will and what people did and didn't want to do.
Right.
You didn't want to fight this guy. I do want to fight this guy. I don't want to fight for that much. That has a lot to do with that quote right there. A lot of boxing insiders talk a lot about that one.
Right.
You know, and the role it plays on today's boxers. You know, a lot of today's boxers, if you follow boxing, and I'm sure it's a lot with the MMA fighters too, they come from backgrounds where all they had was to box. If I wanted to get out of this country, I had to box. If I wanted to get out of this neighborhood, I had to fight. You know, and someone telling them you can't do this or you won't do this, you don't have the ability to do this. It buries deep in some people, and some people buy it to the point where they never believe in themselves. So that one, they always talk about it. One of the biggest ones I remember is Ricardo Mayorga, you know, and where he came from. So that one echoes a long ways for me. So they're interviewing
Dan Henderson right now.
Hendo
He
right
just
now.
said he was in trouble in the first round, big time, and that guy hits hard.
So
I tell you what, those cauliflower ears are ugly as shit.
that's wrestlers' ears, man. When I started wrestling in 8th grade, I remember my wrestling coach in 8th grade said, if you want to wear headgear, it's optional. And I said, what's headgear? And he showed me a picture of some college wrestlers. He said, see those guys' ears? I said, yeah. If you don't want those ears, you wear headgear. Well, the headgear that first came out when I was wrestling was the two big old covers.
The earmuffs.
Man, it was ugly. But they were uncomfortable, so I didn't wear them my first year. And then they got these nice silky ones after that. Is that his wife?
It's his family, yeah.
Dude, is that his daughter?
Yes, the tall
Dude,
one.
that's a tall chick, man. And Hendo ain't short. I'm gonna assume she has heels on.
I can't
Does
tell.
not look like it.
She looks just like him,
Yes,
and her
she
mama.
Even the mom's taller than him.
Uh-huh. Hey, well, when you can drop people like that,
Yeah.
Kate Hudson in the
It
crowd,
don't matter.
taking it in. Hey, Gerard Butler. No, there's a fight. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't fucking think who it is. But there's a fight from the UFC where they're swinging and somebody nails a right hook and the ear explodes.
Oh, that was Kimbo Slice and why can't I think of that clown's name? They fought on NBC or Fox or something. It was on public. It was one of Kimbo's first fights that was televised.
Yeah.
Not
Was it-
YouTube. I
I want to say his
remember
last
who it
name was Thompson.
It might have been.
Like his ear literally
It
exploded.
exploded, and they said that's why they picked him as that opponent because they knew he would get hit, and it was the gore for TV.
Yeah.
Nobody
Ugly.
wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see that
Nobody wants to
circus.
see that crap. So,
But yes,
So we got-
back to Ali here for a second as we jump around. Yes, just one of the most iconic sports figures. Period.
yes.
Even as he's aged, as time has gone on with the Parkinson's and all his health issues, one of the most recognizable faces.
Yes, for sure.
He was the torch lighter at the '96 Olympics in Atlanta.
Olympics, yeah.
And if you want to talk about something that's a trip, somebody who was that mentally tough and believed in themselves that much, who had Parkinson's, and I tell you what, his arm shook ridiculously, even grabbing that torch. But as soon as he grabbed that torch, he held it firm and it stopped.
Yeah.
And then he switched hands, and then it automatically went back to shaking as he
Yeah.
lit that torch. Man, just a sight for people who have those health issues.
Yeah.
Michael J. Fox, somebody who's dealt with that issue for a long time, I'm sure looks up to somebody like that. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. He, as far as Ali went, he had a great career. He did get punched in the head a lot. I mean, over the expanded of a career, you may say, oh, he didn't have marks on his faces or whatever, which is true. But at the end of the day, he still is a boxer, and you still got to take shots.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that
Are they advertising?
they just did.
Oh.
That deal must have just got done.
Oh man,
That's 202 in Vegas.
that's the next one in Vegas.
He's there.
Oh, there's Diaz.
So they must have got it done.
Hey, my birthday's the 25th.
I know that.
Oh man.
There it is. With Dana White, they got the deal done. If you today were on Instagram and you follow the MMA world, there's a video on Nate Diaz's Instagram of him slapping Dana White. So apparently, as long as Nate agreed to the fight, he could slap Dana White and put it on Instagram. So they just made the preview announcement: Conor versus Nate 2,
Where's it at?
August 20th in Vegas.
Ooh.
We might be having to make a trip to Vegas, babe. August 20th.
We'll jump in the car. We'll take off. We can leave Saturday. We can leave Friday night.
I'll call in sick Saturday. We'll make it happen.
Drive over. We'll stay one night. We'll drive back Saturday morning.
Right. Ain't like I ain't done worse.
We'll save the money of the flight. We'll only need one night of hotel. We'll get there late enough. We won't even check into the hotel till Saturday.
See? It's a beautiful thing.
It'd be $200 round trip. So, yeah, I liked going through Twitter today. If you were looking at a lot of the big names in sports, everybody had a picture with Ali. Yes. Everybody did, and a real respectful.
What would you say is the most famous image of him?
Probably,
I know which one I think it is.
I always think, okay, and it's probably on every picture, is the one of him standing over George Foreman with his hand. He's kind of got his knuckles
is it
up, like
him
looking at him.
or Sonny Liston?
Well, there's one of him over Liston,
right?
too. The one over Foreman is, I don't want to say it's bigger, but to me it speaks in my mind more because he said he was going to do it.
The Liston one was the one that ended in under a minute, right?
Yes.
And people thought Liston threw the fight.
Yeah. That again, there's a story to go with every one of that guy's fight. That guy did not have a fight that did not have some kind of backdrop.
Controversy.
Not I wouldn't even call it controversy. It had every one of his fights had a story to it. A lot of these fighters nowadays, they go through and they 1-0, 2-0, 10-0, 12-0. This guy from fight 1 to his last fight had a story. He made a story out of every fight he had, and that's what made his career unique. Mayweather did a good job of it and doing it towards the end, but nobody's gonna match what Ali did with that, with the self-promoting that guy did. Just unbelievable, unreal,
crazy.
But yeah, but
respect to him for all his accomplishments and everything he's done, and obviously his family doesn't listen to this podcast, but it's a big loss to them and to the sports world. They said, from what I saw in the news, they said his family and friends were around him in his final hours, which I'm glad to hear.
That's important. You're dying unexpectedly is a heartache.
And I don't care who you are. I mean, minus people that do bad things. I mean, I have my own opinion about that, but if you're somebody who's just, it's old age or you have an illness or something like that, I hate to hear about people that died alone and by themselves. I don't think that anybody should go out like that.
I did have the pleasure of watching his daughter box while she
was
boxing.
She's a good-looking girl.
Not with the cornrows in.
But, not during fighting. Nobody thinks Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey looks good while they're fighting either.
Yeah, I did have the pleasure of watching her fight a couple times. Very good boxer. I don't know what she does now, but she's
done a little acting. She's done a little personal training type stuff. She's done a lot. But she's like an entrepreneur, I guess.
So she had her. I'm sure her being an Ali didn't hurt, but yeah. Thoughts and prayers with that family as they finish this. I think they said his funeral's next Friday or Thursday. Definitely the loss of a sports icon in that way. But
so as we go along here, the next fight, Ricardo Lamas and Max Holloway. Ricardo Lamas first one out. They're showing an American flag next to his name, but if I'm not mistaken, that's your home country of Puerto Rico's flag.
I was going to say that's Puerto Rico's flag, buddy.
So, a little interesting there. Maybe he was born in America, but his heritage is Puerto Rican.
That's possible.
This fight should be good. Featherweight fights. They're considered the number 4 and 5 fighters in the featherweight division.
Guys looking to get up.
And especially Holloway, who's been on a tear since he lost to McGregor. So he's definitely the one that would be in line after the Aldo Edgar fight, which is interesting because now that pushes whoever wins Edgar Aldo at 200 back down the line farther for their next fight, because now that means Conor's fighting in August, and they've said no matter what comes of this Nate Diaz fight, his next fight's going to be the featherweight title fight, which means he would be fighting. Let's see, fights in August. You're looking at, let's say, a 3-month turnaround.
Maybe December.
You're looking at November and Madison Square Garden.
Or if they try to promote it even bigger, they go back to January.
First of the year.
Yeah, first of the year.
I would imagine it's MSG. You want the biggest names possible. It's your first fight there.
True.
Because they just legalized the boxing commission and the fighting commission. They're in New York City. Yeah. I think that's a guy that has the drawing power that you want him on that card. I think in a way that lined up perfectly for the UFC, because if he fights at 200, he'd probably want to fight again before that.
Yeah.
So I think that worked out for them.
This is 1 month later, a month and a half later from 200.
So I think definitely that works in their favor.
We already talked about it. They're not idiots. They know what they're doing.
I'm glad to see that deal got done. Dana White was on The Herd with Colin Cowherd, a former ESPN radio host, and he used to have a show on ESPN, as well, Sports Nation with Michelle Beadle. But he left ESPN and wound up with Fox on his radio show, got to keep the Herd show. So he had Dana White on, and they were asking, obviously, about, you know, the card for this weekend because Rockhold and Bisping almost beat the shit out of each other on the set. And he asked him about Conor and about Nate because they had heard that, you know, Nate wasn't happy with his deal and, you know, this and that. So he said that, and this is interesting, this is where I want to get your opinion. And the conversation was, if you're Dana White, Nate Diaz beat Conor McGregor, so he's going to want money for beating Conor. But Conor's the guy drawing the eyes and drawing your money. Nate is not the draw in this situation.
Agreed.
So how do you divvy up the money between the guy that holds the win and the guy that brings you the money?
Well, you're obviously going to have to take both into consideration because if you piss one of them off and they walk, not that they have the option to walk, but if they decide to not make it happen, not only have you costed your organization money, but you've costed both fighters money, you know. So I'm sure and here's the deal with Diaz. My understanding is they do not live real big. They're not those extravagant super athletes that are out there dumping their money into massive cars and houses. That's my understanding. If Diaz is getting a payday and Dana White's doing a good job of selling it to him, they're okay. So I'm sure, and Diaz is not an unrealistic guy from what I've saw with all of the interviews. What you got there, tech guy?
My truck broke down.
Your truck broke down. Oh.
On the way over here?
You should have sold it to me when I offered you that $1,000 for it.
All it needs is a belt.
Oh, well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure Dana sat Nate down and said, okay, look, here's the deal, bud. We know you won, and we're going to get you more money. Okay? This is, if you want a guarantee. Oh, man, the dog's got the ball. Hey, drop the ball, dog. We're inside again. Christina did me a favor and let us inside. So we're potting inside again. So thank you, honey, for that. I'm sure you just sat Diaz down and said, look, we know you won, but please understand that the reason this is going to make money is Conor. Conor's the draw here. So we are going to get you more money. Whether or not he was able to guarantee him anything or not, I don't know. But I guarantee you that it was enough money to make Diaz sign because we saw the sign. Look at that dumb dog. Hey. So, you know, I don't think they're unrealistic. I think Diaz knows he's got to win. He's got the clock. Well, and maybe he was able to throw, hey, look, let's get you some money, and I'm going to get you a bigger title fight with more money down.
Well, you know? I think here's what White said is that people don't know this, but right before the Conor fight the first time, Nate signed a new deal. And he's saying that by, you know, him winning and stuff, that now Nate's trying to back on the deal and wants more money. And he's like, people don't understand that, like, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. So I think that's something that, you know, was taken into consideration. You know, I think they figured out a way to give him some bonus money and accommodate him. So, you know, it is what it is. But good news is they got it done.
They got it done, and we're going to see it now.
So hopefully there's no more shenanigans and it goes down. Like, I don't care, like, to let the shit talking begin.
Well, we never got to the signing point last time anyways. It was being talked about being negotiated. And
that's not true.
Or did it actually get signed?
It was signed. Okay. Nate has been quoted. He was on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani and said they called him the day after the first fight and said, we want to do it again.
Wow. So, interesting. Well, as that gets worked out, we'll eagerly see if we can get there without them pulling out this time.
Right.
That's why I said we're really out of. We ought to make a day trip out of it. We make a day trip out of it. We ought to be able to work. So, anyways, we had game one, the finals,
the NBA
Thursday
finals?
night.
Tell me.
Hold on. It's my turn to ask you a question. Okay. Let me ask you a question. Biggest question on talk radio and everything day after. Everybody, okay. Was that the Cavaliers' loss or the Warriors' win?
That's the Warriors' experience. So I'm going to say that's the Warriors' win. Because here's the thing. Yes, you're looking at a Cavaliers team that's at full strength. Well, guess what? Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving ain't never been in the spotlight like this.
True.
Although those bench guys last year had to step up and play some big minutes and long games and stuff like that, at the end of the day, their roles are different this time around.
Yeah.
And how this team gels in that spotlight is much different than how they've gelled during the season, during the beginning of this playoffs. It is different. Whereas with the Warriors, minus Anderson Varejao, Everybody else is still pretty much the same.
Yeah.
They've been there. They've been down. They know what it's like to have to fight back. 73 wins is a lot of games and a lot of scenarios you got to fight through. And let's not forget, OKC took them to the limit.
Yeah.
You know, and here's the part that's even better about this. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry had shitty nights.
Yeah.
They did not perform to the MVP level that Steph Curry is and to the supporting cast role that Klay Thompson is to Steph Curry. Because let's be honest, if Klay Thompson is now the James Harden of this Warriors team.
Yes.
Because although he could be a star on his own somewhere else, he plays second fiddle to Steph Curry.
Yes.
And with that going on, neither one of them performed well.
Yeah.
Both of them shot really bad. And you turn around and see their bench come through and play the way that they played.
Yeah.
Last year, the last 2 years, I've called the Finals MVP. 2 years ago, I called Kawhi Leonard. I sat down and said, I'm going to tell you right now who it's going to be. It's Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Last year, I sat down with you and said, it's going to be who guards LeBron. If it's Andre Iguodala, that's who's taking it. Sure enough, Andre Iguodala is the guy that gets the MVP. Now, after game 1, who do I think the MVP is going to be?
You better not say Livingston.
No, I don't believe that it's Sean Livingston. He had a great game 1. Congratulations for him to be that guy. That team is essentially the poster team of guys that take the next step. When one guy's down, the next guy steps up and picks it up. Yeah. And they all understand that. So I think that, you know, for them, they totally get that.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing for them and big trouble for Cleveland.
Yeah.
Because if you look, there's a lot more pressure on some of these Cleveland guys. Specifically in the starting lineup, Irving and Love. Yeah. But in the backup role, there's other guys. Like Timothy Mozgov last year started because Anderson Varejao was hurt. Where the hell is that guy?
We didn't even see him the other day.
Now you have Tristan Thompson, who last year started in the back half of the finals because of his rebounding, but in the beginning came off the bench. Now there's more pressure for him to do that again and be that guy. Well, guess what? The Warriors are ready this time for him. He's not a surprise this time around. Yeah. But if you leave guys open, when they go small, Cleveland has adapted going small with Tyronn Lue as their coach. Yeah. And the Warriors said, you want to go small? We can do that too. We're the guys that set the tone with people going small. So you want to see what we do? Here you go. And although I admit, there were times in that game where I went, man, we're really going to see this game 1. They're going to shoot like shit. Yeah. And they're going to get rolled at home again, just like OKC blew them out. Yeah. They played through it, and they came through and handled. Not only did they win, they handled them. Yeah. So, again, I stand by what I said weeks ago. I told you who was going to win. I told you who would be in the finals. Yeah. So, to me, that was the Warriors winning that game and not the Cavs losing it. That's the Cavs just not having experience and not knowing what to do in those situations. And if you watching that game, at one point, Steve Kerr broke his clipboard. Yeah. Like he just hammer-fisted his clipboard and it snapped. Yeah, so I think that they got the message. Yeah. You know, when you look at Steve Kerr, you don't think of a guy that gets angry and loses his mind about certain things. And he showed some emotion, and I think that team kind of got the hint, like, hey, if coach is showing that, like, we need to step up. Like, we're not where we need to be. Yeah. So I think that was definitely a good win, not a crucial win, but a good win for the Warriors. And I said this in the OKC series, that don't be surprised if it does go 7. I say the same thing here because the Warriors just did what they were supposed to do. They won at home. They're going to have to do it again tomorrow night. You know, it's not. I heard a quote yesterday. It's not a real series until somebody wins on the road.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what they said about that. After OKC won that game 1, it was like, oh, one on the road. This could get real interesting real quick, and it did. So, can Cleveland win at Golden State?
It's possible. You saw how dominant they can be. I think it's possible, especially if their guys get hot.
Is it dominant if Thompson and Curry aren't playing well?
Yes, because you still have to perform. Regardless of how shitty they play, you still got to do your job. If you don't do your job, you wind up with a close game. And what does that do? You know this as a coach just like I do. If you play like shit, you turn over the ball, you don't rebound, you don't shoot well, and you're only down 8, 10 points, you go, look how bad we've been playing, and we're right here.
We're right there still.
You give a team hope, and if you let a team hang around, especially one that won 73 games and is the defending world champions, they're going to go, we're not done yet. Yeah. And they showed that.
That was fun to watch Curry come down and hit that 3, and right after that, Thompson hit that 3, and all of a sudden they're up 9.
Yeah, it was a quick turnaround. End of the first round here, Max Holloway looked like in the highlights here, he had some solid strikes that gave him the advantage in this round. And we're getting ready to start round 2 here.
So LeBron's taking a lot of heat for this loss. Justified?
Yes. If you say that he's as good as people think he is and how much he thinks he is, and I said this weeks ago. I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I've said this to other people I've had conversations with. Nobody's talking about how this takes, not the finals per se, but Steph Curry's stardom. How this takes the spotlight off of him. He's never been wanted to be the guy. You look at guys before him. Kobe, Jordan, Shaq. Who else would be in that category?
I don't know. You're thinking of some elite company right there.
Guys that when you look, Reggie Miller, guys that when you look at them on their team, you know that that's the guy I got to stop. That guy wants us, whether he's got to score all 120 points for us, he's going to give it hell. And he's going to be the guy that says, you're going to give me the ball, and you're going to have to stop me, or I'm going through you. I don't care if you know what I'm doing.
A young Duncan?
Yes, a young Tim Duncan for sure. So when you look at guys like that, and at one point, I would even say a young Dwayne Wade.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I would agree with that one.
It's one of those things where when you look at LeBron, he's never been that guy. Has he hit some big shots in games? Yes. But when you've played for 10 years, 11 years, whatever he's at now, you're bound to, when you touch the ball as much as he does, you're bound to catch a couple game winners here or there. It's not one of those things where it's, he'll never hit one, or he's missed a lot, but he made this one in this game. Yeah, guess what? He made one a couple years ago, or a few years back, when he played for Cleveland the first time.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was the Eastern Conference Finals against the Magic or what it was, but he hit a top of the key 3, and everybody's like, whoa! And at the moment, it was a big moment. But if you go back to when he first got into Miami, played against San Antonio, Game 6, who saved their ass?
It was Dwayne Wade.
No, it was Ray Allen.
That's right. That was
LeBron
his first year out.
bricks the first shot from the top of the key on a loose rebound, and they get the ball to Ray Allen, who steps back in the corner and hits the 3 that saves the series. It was not LeBron. If you look at his stats, for all you people that want to go and look it up, go ahead and Google it. His stats and shooting percentage under the final 10 seconds. They're sitting here fucking banging right now. With about 2:30 left in this round, Max Holloway and Ricardo Lamas are just bombing on each other. If you look at his shooting percentage and his stats with the ball in his hands under 10 seconds, it is not good.
Oh, wow.
It is not good. So people who sit here and go, he's hit this shot or he's hit that shot, you're right. But even the sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, there's random people in the NBA that come off the bench that have hit game winners that you wouldn't expect them to. Yeah. It happens. But at the end of the game, it is a rarity to have a microphone huddle like the NBA does, and you hear LeBron go, give me the ball. I want the ball. Where's this going?
Yeah.
It's usually a setup for him to kick the ball to somebody. If you're the guy that you say you are, you're the freak that everybody knows you are at 6'8", 260, why are you not attacking the basket? Are you afraid of shooting free throws at the end of a game? If you can power through somebody the way that he has shown. I mean, I literally watched him jump over John Lucas III one year. Like on an alley-oop, he jumped over him and then said, I didn't know he was there. That's a grown man. 6 foot. He jumped over him. You're going to tell me you don't want to go to the paint when the game's on the line? You're okay with stepping back and taking a jump shot that may or may not go in?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's not that guy. So with Steph Curry's stardom, I think that to him personally, he's benefited from that.
Yeah.
Because now he's not in the light all the time. He's not the guy going, oh, no, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not this. It's not that. We got a possible choke out here with about 40 seconds left in the round.
Does he got it in?
I'm not sure. No, he slipped out. Holloway had him there for a minute. Now he's going rear naked.
He doesn't got it in though.
He's trying to fight it.
It's on his chin.
Yeah, he's slipping sideways. He got out.
Oh, he let it go. No.
30 seconds. He's got his back still. Punching him in the face from the underside.
About 20 seconds left. I think he's over.
Oh, he's hammering him. Oh, he tried to slip his back. Nope. Still throwing the punches under and over.
Oh!
Nice
Oh!
back elbow.
10
10 seconds here, and he's still banging on him. He's trying to get through the round. He's holding his wrist.
He'll be all
That'll
right.
be the round. Oh! Hit a solid elbow to the ear right there at the end.
That's crazy.
So he'll make it to the next round.
Glad I
We'll
don't
see
make
this
my
one go
living
through.
doing that, man.
Right?
That's crazy.
So I think that Steph Curry in this situation, and here's the best part. And this is why I enjoy watching Steph Curry. People say, oh, he pulls up and shoots too many threes and shit like that. Maybe he does. But that's his game, and he knows how to use it.
Yeah.
The dude's got ridiculous handles.
Oh, yeah.
But more so than that, what I love about this guy, people go, oh, he's a role model. I don't care if he's a role model or not. This guy is not moved by what people say.
Yeah.
He's not like multiple legends in the NBA have come out and said, oh, no, they wouldn't last in our era. He wouldn't last in our era. This, that. I guarantee you something. There's a lot of people that said others wouldn't last in that time frame.
Yeah.
Steph Curry would find a way to make it work. He's one of those guys that his game isn't subjective to the era, in my opinion. Because he's not the guy that attacks the basket and gets the shit beat out of him every night.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do that. He can stop and pop on you at mid-range. He can go way behind the three-point line and you don't get to touch him.
Yeah.
There's stuff that, to me, that transcends certain areas. And whether people like it or not, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. The only way that doesn't work is if you take away the three-point line.
Yeah.
To me, that's the thing with him. And no matter how many people have said no to him, no matter how many people have said, oh, he doesn't play the game the right way, or, LeBron saying, oh, they're no different, and him going, yeah, I'm used to people saying that stuff. I love the fact that off the court, he doesn't have to play that way. But as soon as you see him step on that floor, he hits that switch, and it's game time, and his whole attitude shows. The swagger shows. And he's not the guy that's in your face screaming at the other, cussing at him and stuff like that, which, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge KG fan. My favorite player post-Jordan era is Kevin Garnett. So, and that guy talked a lot of shit, and I said a lot of cuss words. But for Steph, to me, that's not a factor. But when you see Steph's passion and emotion for the game, that's what drives me to enjoy watching him. At the end of Game 6 in the OKC series, holding up the 7 on his hands going, we're not going home.
Yeah.
That kind of emotion that pours out of you after you hit a 3. Or not shooting the ball and then looking at Ibaka and then watching the ball go in after you looked at him. That stuff to me, you don't got to say a word. Watch my work.
Yeah.
Watch what I do. That is what impresses me. When you had LeBron at the forefront of this, you had a guy that went, well, I'm glad here and this and that. You're right. He could have been the guy that went, let me embrace this. Yeah, I'm the bad guy because people don't like me. But guess what? Try and stop me.
Yeah.
He could, in my opinion, he could have been this generation's Reggie Miller attitude-wise. The guy that embraced being the bad guy. Reggie Miller and the Knicks, 30 for 30 is amazing. But not only that, when you looked at Reggie never got past Jordan.
Yeah.
But that never once slowed him down to say, I'm still the best shooter. I'm still, he still embraced the idea that, I don't care how much better you think he is. You think I'm bad? Just watch what I do. And there's videos. There's a video. Look it up on YouTube. Reggie Miller fights Michael Jordan and headbutts him. Because he was willing to embrace being that guy. Now, I'm not saying LeBron should go out and headbutt people. But he should have embraced that rather than trying to say, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. No. Be the guy that you are. Be you. And if that means you're a bad guy to the people, so be it.
You're a bad guy. Yeah.
I mean, that's what bothers me more than anything with him, is that he comes off as phony. He's not trying to be himself. He's trying to be this guy that, this is what, I should be. This is my image.
Yeah.
No. Now, the other question I have for you. Game 1. Matthew Dellavedova punches Andre Iguodala in the junk.
Was it a punch?
Technically, yes.
No more so.
He was trying to punch out, allegedly he was trying to punch out the ball. Hit him in the nuts.
No more or less than Draymond Green's kick.
I disagree.
I'm not saying, I'm not.
No, I know, I get it.
I'm just saying, is it any more or less than?
Yes.
Okay, so did you believe DeAndre? Did you believe Draymond Green's was a flagrant kick?
I think you have to call it that way, even because if you watched him throughout that series, he played it the same way every time. So if he was selling it, he sold it every time. It was consistent. He didn't just kick Steven Adams in the nuts that one time and then go, it was an accident, and you never saw his legs flop or flounder in the air. That happened every time.
Yeah.
But he did happen to catch Steven Adams in the nuts that one time. Now, do I think that he was aware that Steven Adams was there? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody in the game of basketball that when you're that close to somebody, you're not. I'm not saying you're completely aware, but you know that they're in the vicinity of where your legs are. You know.
Okay, so you're gonna ask about Dellavedova.
So Dellavedova, do you think that was a dirty play and was more than the common foul that they called?
Yes, I do. Taking it back to Draymond Green, I think it's the same. I think you have to call it that way because if you don't, you leave the door open to other things happening. I think the refs missed a chance to get it under control. If this starts to get out of control, they're going to point to that moment where they went back to the monitor 3 times.
Yes.
Not once, not twice. 3 times they went back to the monitor to look for something and decided nothing was there. You went back the second time, you're going to double check, okay, you know what, did I see this or not? If you're going back a third, you're saying, I saw this, I'm just going to double check that I saw this and then go back. There's no way. They killed... To me, they killed a critical moment in that game where Cleveland seemed to be inching forward, and they gave that needed break that a timeout would usually
to the Warriors. Well, if you can read lips in the initial huddle after the first review of the video, they look at each other, and I don't know the referee's name off the top of my head. Holy shit! Swinging away here in the final 10.
Oh! That's a look at it. He's like, yeah, let's go.
End of the round, it's going to go decision. I got Max Holloway on this one.
Is that Holloway?
Yeah.
Nah, you look like you had a better second round anyways. Dude, that's the way you finish a fight right there. Crazy finishes.
I just think that when you look at that and you look at what he said, like if you can read lips, he literally said, let's call a double technical. I got a technical on him, we'll call it a double technical. And then the 2 refs that had their back to the camera said whatever they said, and they went back and looked again.
Camera.
So initially they were in agreement in a double technical, which I didn't think Andre Iguodala was warranted for a technical.
No, but then you condone. I don't want to say you condone, but then you maybe say retaliation might be okay, and they're trying to avoid letting it get to the point where they want players thinking they can take it into their own hands. I don't think Iguodala should have gotten a technical. But if you turn around and you look at someone that does that and say, hey, what the hell, man? What's going on? That's different than saying, hey, and walking over and chest bumping and going.
Yeah.
Because you're basically challenging when you chest bump.
See, to me, that's exactly what it is. It's a case-by-case basis. And when you look at Andre Iguodala, if I get hit in the dick, too, I'm getting in somebody's face going, what was that for? Which was the main thing. If you read his lips, he spins around and Iman Shumpert gets in his face and he goes, dude, he hit me in the dick. Word for word is what he said. I'm going to be mad too.
Well, yeah, but you're turning around and talking about vocalizing. You're not turning around and talking about chest bumping. Mm-hmm. You made it physical.
That's why I said I did not believe that he should have gotten technical for that, which they decided not to. Now, in my personal opinion, Dellavedova should have got at least one as a technical, if not a flagrant.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, if you look at what the context of the foul is, as we speak about this, Max Holloway with the win here by unanimous decision. If you look at this, the video, they clearly showed it. He cannot see the ball. By the time he goes to make that play, Iguodala's hand, the ball had already switched hands. And Dellavedova's view is behind Iguodala's shoulder. Why would you swing in that area? Now, not only that, if you are a basketball fan, coach, enthusiast, whatever you want to call, expert, whatever you want to call yourself, if you're trying to knock the ball loose, whenever you're not trying to draw a foul, do you punch the ball down?
No.
There's only one instance. And that's when they're going to the basket, which is how LeBron got caught several times early in that game by Iguodala and a couple other people. You do not ever come down in that instance. Now, if he would have came straight down, where does he hit him? In the thigh.
Yeah.
He comes across knowing that the ball could or could not be there because he can't see it. To me, that's enough evidence to warrant that you did that recklessly. That's not a play on the ball.
Yeah.
You hit him in the leg. Okay, you want to call it a common foul. You were going for the ball. Not a problem. You hit a guy in the balls because you couldn't see. That's reckless.
Yeah.
And to me, that warrants a technical or a flagrant.
Well, and like we said, they looked at it 3 times. I mean, even they missed an opportunity, one, to call the first technical on Dellavedova, and they missed a second to get control of
the situation.
The reaction of the reactions.
See, I even at that, like, I just don't think that in that situation, like, if you wanted to get mad, like, would you have got mad at Steve Adams if he would have gotten Draymond Green's face in the OKC series after he got kicked in the nuts?
No, but if you go and you create that physical contact in your reaction, you've stepped over what they're calling their line.
Like I said, to me, that's a case-by-case basis.
But if you can call it during the game, you're going back to the monitor. If he goes back and he creates a physical contact, whether it's a chest bump or a push,
whichever,
or even a punt, whatever, anything, you can automatically warrant the technical at minimum. And then on a case-by-case basis, you know what, he's turning around and he's reacting to what happened. It's just a technical. Okay? You can even call a double common foul if that's what you wanted to do. Okay? But you would at least get your warranty for the technical. Okay? He doesn't touch him, you don't even got to call anything on him. They talk to each other all the time. Right. They're always yapping at each other. So that's, one technical for the instigator. Nothing for the retaliation as long as it doesn't get physical.
Right.
But they missed it.
See, I don't think, to me, there's a line of physicality, and I don't think that Andre Iguodala crossed that. Because in some instances, you have to understand the context of the situation. He's got hit in the dick. You can't turn around and tell somebody, walk away.
Well, I agree with you.
You can, but...
I agree. I don't think he stepped over a line, but the NBA has made it very clear what their line is.
Yeah.
And they stepped over the NBA's line. The NBA has said any physical contact. They've stated that they don't want retaliation that results in contact. As soon as you contact another player, you've crossed the line.
Do you see that hurting them in the NBA and officials in Game 2?
Yes. You're going to get second guessed now. And not only did the officials miss it, but the NBA misses it in their review. Because they didn't come out and say this should have been a double technical.
Well, I'm glad that they didn't. Because they've had too many of those mishaps.
Agreed. This has been a terrible playoffs for that. For them coming out 2 minutes in the game and going, they've missed this, they've missed that, it's gone here, it's gone there.
Yeah.
That's probably good. But again, you're trying to get control of certain situations. These are those situations that are harmful. I don't give a damn about a missed out of bounds or any of that other crap they're saying that they missed, or this shouldn't have been called, or this should have been called. What we care about is this stuff that turns big like this. When it starts affecting player behavior in general, okay? You've basically said the retaliation's okay as long as it doesn't get too bad. Well, 1, 2, 3, now you start getting, and now it looks like you're singling out players, which we know they don't most of the time, but it gets to that point.
Right.
You miss the opportunity to reinforce your line, So, I don't know. It's a touchy subject because it goes case by case basis, and you never know which way they're going to go each night.
I don't know if my eyes deceived me from there, but that was Brock Lesnar. They just showed at the end of that promo for UFC 200.
Was it?
Yeah, they showed everybody there, and then it was Brock Lesnar standing there smirking, throwing a swinging shot, and then he was like,
Could have been. I don't know.
They're talking about him right now. He's returning it to UFC 200.
Oh, guess who's going to be there?
You. I told you.
Nice.
Who is his opponent?
Nice special surprise for me and my crew heading out to Vegas.
I tell you what, they've done a great job with promotions. They announced the Diaz-Conor 2 fight. Now they announced that Brock Lesnar's coming back in 200. His contract ended his opponent hasn't been determined yet.
Oh, wow.
So, there you go. Look at that card now. That card looks very different now. Cormier Jones, Lesnar, an opponent to be determined later. Misha Tate, Amanda Nunes, Jose Aldo, Frankie Edgar, Cain Velasquez, Travis Brown. There is 3 title fights on UFC 200 and 2 major heavyweight fights now that Brock Lesnar's on there. And that's not even counting the fight that you don't know about yet that was added to that card.
There was another one added?
I told you there was a fight, and you're like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I did. You did. Get to watch Misha Tate fight. That's always a good day. But looks like we're at our time barrier here.
Are we?
Yeah,
already?
59 minutes.
Beautiful.
So we've given you some live. These are live UFC 199 updates. We are up to, I think they got 2 fights left, right?
No, 3? They have 3.
They got 3 fights left.
Let me double check that real quick.
We're giving you some NBA Game 1 analysis.
Oh, no, you're right. 2 fights left.
Left on 199.
The co-main event, Faber Cruz should be next.
and we paid a little bit of tribute to Muhammad Ali. For those of you, I'm going to clarify this. I'm not bashing Muhammad Ali for being a draft dodger. That's not what I was doing here. I think he would want people to remember that he was human. One of the things he always said was, "I am only one person. I'm only a man. I'm not God." He was Muslim, and so in his case it would be Allah. But he would not want himself being thought of as bigger than everything, even though we hold him in an iconic state. Right. He would not want to be known as more than just the boxer and a good man. And that's what he died, and that's what he'll be remembered as a good man. So, to lay no negative image on his legacy. All
right, predictions for the co-main event and main event. Who you got, Faber Cruz?
I got Faber. I don't think he's done yet. I definitely think he knows that this is potentially his last title shot, and I can see him coming out and making the most of it. And I just when they start saying the old guys got running out of gas, they pull something out. Look at what Hendo just did. I mean, you never know with the old guys. They've got experience, they've got time, and he's been challenged. So I think he'll come out and prove everybody wrong.
In the main event, Rockhold Bisping.
I'm gonna take Bisping.
Really, taking the underdog again?
I think Bisping is got a show coming up for everybody. Like I said, I watched some of those pre-fight interviews before you got here. And I'm looking and I see something different in his eyes. So. I'm going to say he's going to come out here and take this one. So I think it'll be interesting.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and take the champions. I'm going to take Cruz and Rockhold. I think even on a torn MCL, Rockhold kills Bisping. I'm not going to say that it's round one. I'm not going to predict a round. But I'm going to say that he handles him. Even if it goes to decision, it's going to be a unanimous decision.
Okay.
And that's on a torn MCL. Faber Cruz, I got Faber. His footwork, his speed. TJ Dillashaw had a hard time, even though he landed more strikes.
You said you have Faber. You mean you Cruz?
Oh, sorry. I have Cruz, yes.
Okay.
TJ Dillashaw had a hard time keeping up and making contact with Dominic Cruz, even though, TJ Dillashaw landed, I believe it was like 4 or 5 more strikes when the total count was made up on the fight.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that Faber's as fast as Dillashaw was in that fight, and I just see him trying to do the whole ground game where he's trying to, choke him out and work the ground and transitions and stuff like that. And I just think that Cruz's movement is just going to be too much. So.
Well, you're the MMA guru. Let's see if I get lucky.
All right. Well, this has been a special UFC 199 Saturday edition. We'll be back Monday with episode 13.
13 will be Monday. We'll see you then. We've been
Totally Unprofessional.